लोकपालिनी जगदीश्वरी कारुण्यलावण्य औदुम्बरी अम्ब कारुण्यलावण्य कादम्बरी पतीश्वरी अम्ब शिवशङ्करी पतीश्वरी अम्ब शिवशङ्करी लोकपालिनी जगदीश्वरी दानन्दरूपिणि साईश्वरी लोकपालिनी जगदीश्वरी कारुण्यलावण्य कादम्बरी जीवकारुण्यलावण्य कादम्बरी अम्ब कारुण्यलावण्य कादम्बरी पतीश्वरी अम्ब शिवशङ्करी पुट्टपतीश्वरी अम्ब शिवशङ्करी त्रिलोकपालिनी जगदीश्वरी. Thank you all. So let's see, today's Bhagavad Gita study circle, I would like to have Sharda Hatti talk about verse 1 on chapter 12. Chapter 12 is a chapter devoted to Bhakti Yogam by Sri Krishna. So it comes at a pretty late state after he has talked about the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Buddhi Yoga and all that. And finally, after the Vishwarupa Darshanam, he finds it is very important for Arjuna to inculcate and imbibe the bhakti qualities through which he can be very easily attained, as he gave darshan to Meera as well as Surdas especially. So I will follow that her presentation with my presentation on Purushottam Yoga. Last time I stopped with verse 5, so this time I will do verse 6 and try to summarize 1 to 5. And next time, Sharda Hatti will do chapter 12, verse 2, and myself continue on where I left on Purushottam Yoga. So now you have the triumvirate Gita presentations, one by Sharda Hatti on chapter 12, Bhakti Yogam, how to attain to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna through bhakti. And then through Purushottam Yoga, you come to understand what the Purushottama really wants from the Narottama to attain his lotus feet. So we can get the understanding from these two presentations. And Sai Swarup's probably eventually he'll come on Friday, the US time, Saturday morning, India time, to get to understand in Sai Swarup's words the changes in the Gita rendering by Sai Krishna from that of Sri Krishna in Dwapara Yuga. So let me stop with that introduction. Those of you who are truly interested in making presentations or presenting whatever you would like to present in this Bhagavad Gita study circle, I am willing to listen to you. And that is the only reason I set up this Bhagavad Gita study group, so that you have ample platform to voice your thoughts, comments, criticisms, etc., which you could not do otherwise in the Sri Sai Rudram WhatsApp chat. Therefore, I encourage you to, take fullest advantage of that. And Also, you can reach me one-on-one, just like many others are doing. Those subjects concerning Bhagavad Gita study circle, which you could not voice in the Bhagavad Gita study group, WhatsApp chat. I hope I am clear. So let us start with Sharda Hatti's presentation on chapter 12, verse 1. Thank you. She's already ready.
Sairam uncle, Sairam to all. Today I am explaining about Bhagavad Gita chapter 12 verse 1. Here Arjuna, I'll chant that verse. Evam satata yuktaya, evam satata yuktaye bhaktastvamparyupasate ye chapaksharam avyaktam teshanke yogi vittamaha. I'll chant again. Evam satata yuktaye bhaktastvamparyupasate ye chapaksharam avyaktam teshanke yogi vittamaha. So here Arjuna, when in Kurukshetra, see the Vishwarupa, after that he asked question which Arjuna inquired which is considered to be more perfect. To get the moksha, he asked which is the which path we have to follow. Uh, those who are properly engaged in devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahma, the Brahman. So he has a doubt that he should follow idol worship or the power, just feel the power and follow that path. Arjuna, he used the word evam. Evam means in this way. In the last in the chapter 12, last verse, that way is explained. You can refer that. Evam means in this way. Yogi Vittama means the greater knowledge of yoga. Those who worship form, if they have some form like Krishna, Rama, we also worship Swami Satya Sai Baba form. We are able to connect with the form. So the adoration is easy in the if we worship some form. Formless means some power, just feel the power and worship that. Which is the good one Arjuna is asking. So here we are using the yogi vittama. Yoga means yogi means who has the knowledge of yoga. Yoga is to joy. Vitta is knowledge. Tam is the greater. Yogi vittaraha means great knowledge of yoga. Satata yukta means the consistency should be there in any task or anything. If you want to achieve she should be there. Intimately to join with God. Here Satata Yukta means intimately join with the God. Paryupasate. Upasate means worship. Paryupasate, nice way of worship. Okay, so Arjuna asked which form is form worship is superior. There are three forms: Saguna, Nirguna, and Saguna Nirguna. Some use the both Saguna and Nirguna. Whom does God love most? Arjuna is asking. Krishna or the Swami says that if child is crying, mother won't check Shruti, Tala, and all. Same way, if any devotee call with full devotion, he'll run away to the devotee. He won't check which form he is worshipping. He is worshipping formless or form. Ram, which form the Krishna or the Rama, etc. He won't check. The call is important. Devotion is important. So devotees, calling is important. Next is nirguna means nirguna means attributeless divine principle is same as one who worship with attributes. So senses. Bhautikam is below the senses, and so if we take the entire ocean, in the entire ocean is there in its every drop. So, like example, if we take any jewelry, the gold is present in jewelry, all jewelries. Same gold is present in all jewelry. Only the shape and weave will be different. So same way the here the same God divinity is present, formless or form with qualities. Whatever we worship, the divinity devotion are important. So formless means ahara, food is air and water. These are the basis of the exist yeah, these are existence. Atma exists without beyond this, without these all ahara, air and all. Atma exists without this, so it is beyond senses. That's what nirguna means, beyond the senses. There are many ways. I mean, karma, jnana, and bhakti. There are three paths to reach the God. So both are not different things. Both are required to get the moksha. Truth is ekam satyam eva. Ekam eva advityam brahman. Means in the each Veda we say that if we take the Narayana Upanishad, we say that Narayana Upanishad. If we take, we say that Narayana is Brahma, Narayana is Vishnu, Narayana is Shiva, everything, creator, destroyer, everything we say. If we take Sri Sukta, in that Sri Sukta we say that she is the she has all the powers. She is everything. She is above all everything. We say that whatever we whatever form we worship, we should stick to that one. And if we worship some form, it is adoration is easy. So that's the reason to get moksha or something, it is easy. But both are required. The formless and the power also, both are required. One step, if we want to go ahead in spiritual path, both formless and formless and with form, both are required to progress. That's what Swami has also told that. So it is like if we it can be compared with walking. So one is worshipping formless, one is worshipping form. So both each we can refer with one step. So to go ahead, we have to take the both steps, worshipping in formless and form. So if we say that Shiva and we have some Vahana also common in all gods, Nandi, if we take the Devi, she has some Vahana. If we take Ganesha, he has a Vahana of rat. So some things are common which represent time, space and strength. So to worship it is easy if we stick to one form. That's what. But the all gods are same. That's what is the meaning. So ekam satya vipra bahuda vidante. Truth is absolutely one. Different people have articulated, expressed different based on the audience, situation and circumstances. So the as I said earlier, different Upanishads all are categorized under the Vedanta. Jnana is only one. So again, I explained that each if we take one Veda, we say that that God is everything. We say in that Veda. One more thing is one story I would like to narrate here. One person before dying, he wanted to distribute the properties between between three sons. The property was like he had nine camels, so he wanted to distribute. But when they wanted to divide with 19 only, it was not possible because it is an odd number. So one person come, intelligent person come and add one camel to that, it becomes 20. So he divide between three sons, and at the end he takes the one camel with him. So God is also like that. By adding one camel or God or devotion uh, uh, unaffected to him, but we'll get everything. If worshipping formless and form is compared to the walking, both are required for to grow in spirituality. So we can compare Saguna Nirguna and Saguna Nirguna to the piece of cloth. So Saguna see God as a cloth, Saguna Nirguna see God as a thread, and Nirguna see everything as a cotton. So it is a matter of perspective. And Radha used to worship both. I mean, she was Saguna Nirguna. Radha was in union Atmic self as a consciousness. So she used to worship Nirguna form. So she always, when he was away, she used to worship the Nirguna form. Nirguna means formless. Saguna means the Krishna, when he was when he used to manifest, Krishna used to manifest in front of her. She used to submit her time, energy, and everything. This is Saguna. So we should worship both formless and form to progress in spirituality. That's it.
Thank you very much, Sharda Hati.
Sai Rudram.
Sai Ram. So we'll discuss the questions and answers at the end of my presentation on Purushottama Yoga. So you can have your slides available, Sharda Hati, when we want to do questions and answers. Okay?
Okay, Uncle. Okay.
Thank you very much. Sri Kumar, are you here?
Yes, Mama, I am here. Sai Ram.
Can you see my slide on Purushottama Yoga?
No, Mama, I cannot.
You cannot. Now you should be able to.
Yes, Mama, I can see it.
Okay. Can I get started?
Yes.
So could you kindly do the chanting for Purushottama Yoga, chapter 15, verse 6,
Yes.
please?
न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
Thank you, Shri Kumar. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yadgatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. See, the love of the Lord comes through the way he poetically explains very sukshma techniques. So let us pay attention in Anvayam. Anvayam is the way I prepared the slides. Once again, I would like to share with you. There are 4 text boxes. So one talking about what it is going to talk about, that is Purushottam Yoga, chapter 15, 16, verse 6. And then next text box talks about the Anvayam, taking word after word from the previous text box, and then talking about the meaning in English of the Sanskrit word, that is the meaning of Anvayam. And then the third text box talks about the translation. The translation text box takes all the unboldened words from Anvayam and extracts a grammatical sentence and makes a translation out of the verse that was given in Sanskritam or Samskritam in the first text box. So you see how easily the things are flowing, one folding, unfolding. So it's a kind of a small revelation for the person who even prepares the slides. This is what I like very much about especially Google Slides. I would recommend those who would love to present, fall in line with the Google Slides. They have been so simple that even a child could easily capture it and then move with it. And then the fourth text box is the commentary. Commentary is taking portions from the translation and taking them section by section. So, for instance, the couplet like this in Samskritam, as you see on the first text box, it can be split into 4 quarters, right? And each quarter can be commented upon. Or you can take even 1 quarter, 2 quarters together and comment upon that. Or you can take the whole verse and comment upon that. So with that, I believe the preparation of slides should be easy enough. Moving on, Anvayam, let us do that. Bhasayate, Bharati, Bharati is, Bha is in Bhagavan, it means light, shining, illumining. So Bhasayate, shines, illumines. Suryaha, Suranetra Jyoti Padate, Shri Sai Baba used to say. So the sun is the one that gives Suranetra Jyoti Padate. So the Suranetra, these rods and cones of the eyes get the experience of light through the sun. So you're looking at the sun or experiencing the sun's light. And Swami used to say, when the sun's light comes in, it wakes us up. Okay, let us continue with Anvayam. Shashanko. Shashi, you remember, is moon. So, Shashanko is the moon. Pavakaha. We used to say in Ayurveda, Pachaka Agni, right? The Agni or the fire which cooks the food in the body. The Pavakaha is the fire. And yet to which Gatva having gone, tam gachati iti, it is to go, having gone, gatva, nivartante, return. Vartante, nivartante means to come back. Dhama is param dhama, we say, that is the abode of God. Even in bhajans, we sing this word dhama. So, paramam, supreme, mama, mine, anvayam. So, translation becomes very easy. It takes all the unboldened words, the meanings, which have not been bold, written with bold characteristic. So take them up and write, nor does the sun shine there, nor the moon, nor fire, to which having gone, they return not. That is my supreme abode. See, he asks the question and gives the answer. Nor that the sun shine there, where? Supreme abode. That is my supreme abode, he says. So in his supreme abode, he has the Atma Surya, self-evidence Atma, which is the originator or the creator of the sun, of the moon, of the fire in the body. You remember we read that in various Upanishads, Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam, and so on and so forth. This fire, Vidhilleka eva bhaswara, come to light the lamp of love, Swami says. So the heart. So, translation, reading it again, nor does the sun shine there, where at Sri Krishna's supreme abode, nor does the sun shine there, nor the moon, nor fire, to which having gone, they return not. To which having gone means when the individual soul has reached, that is the Jivatma, has reached the supreme abode, namely of the Paramatma or the Paramdhama, supreme abode, Purushottama, then it has no reason to return from that abode. That's what the understanding of the translation. Reading it again, nor does the sun shine there, nor the moon, nor fire, to which having gone, they return not. That is my supreme abode. That is the goal which we talked about in the previous verses 1 through 5. So moving on to the commentary, the goal is again clearly specified as follows. So that is the supreme abode is the goal. So let us see the how it is clearly specified. The goal sought in spiritual life is one having gone to which there is no return ever. So if there is a goal to which one keeps going and coming back, and there is no, it is not a supreme goal. It is not the goal of the life or the creation. So the perfection gained is an irrevocable fact. So that means the perfection gained is when the Jivatma merges with the Paramatma, it has an irrevocable fact, that is unchangeable fact. That is, it becomes part of the truth itself, and therefore it has no necessity to keep changing itself. And that there is no more any fear of a return to the natural stupidities of a limited egocentric life. So we talked about the various vehicles that an egocentric life lodges one into trouble. And that is the cause of the Ashwata Vriksha. So this what are the egocentric characteristics that could come? Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. right? Four of them. Mano is mind, buddhi is intellect, ahankara is the ego, and chitta, the knowledge part of the I. So this egocentric life means it keeps claiming, I am the doer, I'll get it done, and there is no God. All kinds of such vehicles spawning out of this ego. So when the ego is centered, when an I, the consciousness of the I is centered in that understanding or knowledge, then it becomes ego-centered life. So what is the solution is the supreme abode of the Paramatma, or what Sai Baba says is the Omkara. So avyaktam, padam avyaktam, that is the unchangeable, eternal, immortal life. So there is no ego. It's non innum ahankaram namma arivai mareikkirathu, he used to say. So the knowledge, the ability to know is clouded and confused because of the ego. So when that ego is removed, how is the ego removed? When the bhakta, or the I that lacks the supreme awareness, or the individual atma, or the individual soul, jivatma, gets loss of consciousness of the eternal soul, that is the Paramatma, then it gets confused and gets into the various vehicles that we talked about last time. And now also we can say about each of the characteristics that we mentioned. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, mind, and intellect, ahankara, that is ego, and chitta is the unaware, the ego-centered knowledge of the self, which is partial. So the individual soul gets reborn again and again to reach that goal from which there is no return. So that is the purpose of life. So is the nature and condition of the unknown experience of the infinite. So continuing the commentary, nor the sun, nor the moon, nor fire illuminate that. Because these were all created by the principle that is enshrined in that. At Tattvamasi, we say, So that is the supreme abode, or the light of consciousness. See, the consciousness or the awareness of the pure self, or the supreme abode, or the Paramatma, these are all various terms of signifying one and the same thing. Swami keeps asking, who are you? Then you have to admit who you are by saying, I am, etc., etc., etc. So that I is what is the cause of all the confusion or the clarity of the understanding. So the confusion is the baggage. Swami says, put the bags down and travel light. What he implies is, use the light of consciousness so that the mind becomes as weightless as the light is. Light is so light, and that's why light is referred to as light. There are many other reasons, but very simple understanding of light is, it is light. So enlightened master, they say, So that means the mastermind has mastered the mind that progresses towards the world consciousness, world of objects. So the sun, moon, and stars or fire are all objects as far as the light of consciousness is concerned. So an object of perception cannot illumine the subject that perceives it. It's so obvious, right? The subject is the one that is the creator and which endows the principle of illumining principle because of this self-evidence. You can even see when all the lights have gone out, but if you are used to do japam, tapam, and so on, then you'll see there is a small light that is present in the heart. So that light cannot be put out unless the Paramatma says, yes, it is time for me to leave the body. I have given enough opportunity for the individual soul to merge with the Paramatma, that is the total soul, that is the eternal soul. But the individual souls, I understand, has so much of what shall we say, of the ashwatha, that is the tendency to go into the world and not go from the base of the ashwatha and proceed in the direction of the Paramdhama or the supreme abode. So these are two opposing directions that one has to carefully observe within oneself. In which direction is my mind or my intellect or my chitta or my individual soul is progressing or traveling or journeying? That is of a primordial importance. So the supreme goal of the Gita is to realize that awareness. So this word that has come, you see, Tat Tvamasi. Tattvam is the principle. Tat Tvam Asi. That thou art that. So the humility of the supreme consciousness has left it as open as a vector, as we say. The force has a vector. Like that, the source has also left it as a vector and not as a limited object. So this should shine and loom bright in our hearts, and even in the midst of the night and heaviness of the ignorance of that, this light, you say, aha, that's myself, that. So, okay. So this is my supreme abode, the state of consciousness into which the mind and intellect transcend their agitations. Those are the vehicles. Is described as the abode of the divine, wherein we can confidently make an appointment with truth. So we are centered in truth. Swami told, when I was receiving the medals of having participated in the Balavikas Sai school at Thailand, Dr. Jumsai, who was teaching us this Satyasai school of knowledge of Balavikas students. So Swami used to say that in the function where he was awarding the certificate as well as the medals for all the participants, and Dr. Jumsai was also there, he said, truth is our strength. And then he turned around and said, truth is our only strength. So the 11-second meditation, the importance of that is that it lodges one's individual soul right in the permanent soul, in the eternal soul, that is a permanent abode, supreme abode, that is the truth itself. And Satyam eva jayate, so the victory, yatra yogeshwara krishnaha, yatra partho dhanudraha, that is there, the center. And so it's nice to understand this, the Ashwatha tree, and how it is an imaginary tree, and how, whether there is a growth of that in oneself. I will quickly read that from the book of Dr. Hawley, because I refer to that, namely a walkthrough for Westerners, where he says, the Ashwatha, referred to as the tree of worldly life, is comprised of higher branches closer to God and lower ones at the worldly level. The tree's buds and quaking leaves are likened to human senses fed by the sap-like powers of nature, the gunas. The downward branches stuck deep are attachments that bind the individual soul, namely the Jivatma, to earthly existence. To understand the nature of this upside-down tree is to see the inward way that humans perceive life. You see, the human's perception of life, Sri Krishna has lovingly corrected through this vision of his supreme abode. Now with that, I would invite questions and answers or comments and criticisms, etc. for both chapters 12 presented by Sharda Hatti and chapter 15 presented by myself. Jai Sai Ram. Please come forward and let us make use of the time. It is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock, and the time given is, let us close by 8:30, but the questions are thoughtful, just like Sharda Hatti asked about the Ashwatha tree. So now each one to take homework. Let me find out, because this concept and understanding of Ashwatha tree is going to affect your understanding, the quality of your understanding of the rest of the 14 slokas, 14 verses. So I have just finished the sixth one. So there are 14 more. So you will be challenged. How do you understand or visualize this Ashwatha tree in oneself, yourself? So your Ashwatha tree will not be the same as the one in your neighbors or anyone else. It's an imaginary presence, as pointed out by Dr. Hawley. You have to uproot that. So you better know in which direction your individual soul is growing, is going as well as growing. Okay, questions and answers, please, or comments and criticisms for both chapter 12 Bhakti Yoga as well as chapter 15 Purushottama Yoga. Please come forward. See, you should do homework. This is the only reason I give all these details, of what we are going to do, what we are going to do next time, and things like that. So, see, this the only reason I took the chapter 15 Purushottama Yoga is I have never done a Gita Yajnam on this chapter. with Swami Chinmayananda, who trained me to do to perform Gita Yajnam. That time the scenario was different. There was no COVID, nothing. So there was we were open to one another, and therefore it was like a Guru Kulam. So that time I did all the Gita Yajnam for chapters 2, chapter 9, and partially other chapters, 2 and 9 fully and totally. But that time I determined to myself, someday I would want to do chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga, where only Sri Krishna talks about himself. And for that, he had to mature Arjuna, you see, in so many different ways. Through Karma Yoga, through Jnana Yoga, through Bhakti Yoga, through Vishwarupa Darshanam. And see, there is so much of doubt in the mind. And so he had to clarify. This Gita Acharya, Purushottama, he has a very clear light of every soul. You remember in one of the meetings or in one of the discourses, presentations previously, because we have been doing now for 1 year, I told this Purushottama is something like, you see, these are all only something like we have to take them as allegory or symbolic representation or a metaphor or a simile or an analogy or a syllogism or a deductive reasoning or a mysticism, which I explained in one of the classes. So all these things, these words I am throwing at you, you must penetrate into them and make them your own. Then you become somewhat partially ready to receive the I, Trinetra, wisdom bestowed by Sri Krishna in Purushottama Yoga. This is a very challenging chapter to do Gita Yajnam on. That's why I am taking only one verse at a time. So please use the sunshine. The ball is in your court. Shardati, you asked a wonderful question that what is this Ashwatha tree? That's
Yes,
also,
uncle. And it was reverse, so I got a question. So that day, it was.
which one?
That Ashwatha tree was shown reverse in the slide. So I got a question.
Hmm.
It was
I'm not-
tilted, uncle. I think that in the slide.
I thought of presenting that slide to you, but let me read what Dr. Hawley says. I like the way he explains that. The Ashwatha referred to as the tree of worldly life. You see, do you have a copy of Bible? If you do,
Bible.
yeah, Jesus Christ explains to his apostles not to take anything of the tree of life that he mentions in Bible. I don't want to confuse you. It is only a parallelism, okay? Don't read them separately and don't get confused. So here Sri Krishna gives very allegorically explained, because you see this, it's very common to see a fig tree in India, especially, or a banyan tree. with so many branches, and then from the branches the tree grows and so on and so forth. So he took the analogy only. It is only an analogy. There is nowhere, anywhere you can go and find out this Ashwatha tree. It is something that grows in everyone. So therefore, each one of us has to do the patient examination within oneself after they have done the meditation, and they have the Jnana Chakshu, Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Putyavardhanam. So we are the third eye, the eye of wisdom, bestowed by Rudra Shiva. See, he has his emblazoned, whereas for some it is just happening one by one day at a time, one breath at a time, and so on and so forth. So open that eye. That don't what he call is close that eye. So with that eye, when you see, you have that light, and from which you can see, aha, this is the Ashwatha tree that has been mind-boggling me, and I have been going in circles. My mind, my intellect, my ego, my chitta, all this have been doing their drama. Now the real Rama I'm able to see through this third wisdom eye, capital I. You see, there are so many different ways of saying EYEI as well as I, the pronoun I. They have the same pronunciation and accents. So we should not get what you call as confused. We should be able to easily discriminate which one is being referred to. So the wisdom eye, the Amrita Varshani eye, right? So Triambakam, that eye, EYE, will be able to give each one of us a darshan or a vision of this Ashwatha, or the worldly eye, a worldly tree, a worldly life promoting tree, or the tree that has been put together because of the individual soul wandering, through the various vehicles I pointed out, and lost in aim and goal, supreme abode. That is the tree that has to be uprooted. Got it, Shraddha Hati?
Yes, uncle. Yes, got it.
So, in the words of Dr. Hali, the Ashwatha referred to as the tree of worldly life. It's not the subject thing, supreme abode, that Sri Krishna talks about. Is this tree, this worldly life, the tree that is symbolic of the worldly life, is comprised of higher branches. Those are the branches that go towards God. And lower ones are the ones that take downwards into the worldly level, confusion, chaos. The tree's buds, bud means the ones that are ready to bloom. And quaking leaves are likened to human senses. See the humans. That's why Krishna, as Parthasarathi, he takes over the chariot from Arjuna and take the reins in his hands. What are the reins? Those are Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. And the you remember the constitution of Atma, it said the Jnanendriya, Karmendriyas especially. These Karmendriyas are working senses, 5 working senses. If 5 of them go in 5 different directions, the whole chariot will fall apart. The body will fall apart, right? If each sense were to dictate and take the head away. So that is why this Ravana Buddhi is so many different ways of going, so many heads on one shoulder. Whereas Rama is one head on one shoulder. So many different ways we can say this. We have to do the homework as to where this Ashwata or the worldly life symbolic tree is in us, in me, in the other person. I have to take care of the tree in myself. So each other person has to take care of the tree in oneself, not you worry about somebody else's. That is the reason why I wanted to do this yajnam one verse at a time, so that each one of us get the illumination from Purushottama's understanding, how he is guiding all of us. That's why he did not even take Arjuna into this chapter. All of us. It is for universal knowledge. Anyway, I am crossed 30. So please, this is your homework. I request you in all humility, politeness and obedience to get an understanding of the Ashwatha tree in yourself. And you may share it and ask questions. That is an easy way to get you involved and participate in the Gita Yajnam for Purushottama Yoga. And do it with bhakti, and you are participating in the Gita Yajnam of Sharda Hatti. She will be doing 20 verses. So anyway, thank you. I find there are no questions. Shri Kumar, shall I conclude?
Yes, Mama.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.